Coverage coming your way is presented by EA Sports and the PGA Tour. What really sets Quail Hollow apart here at the Wells Fargo Championship, the brutal finishing stretch. They call it the Green Mile, and we are excited to bring you all of the tournament action. Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo.
Nice.
Looks good.
In the fairway here at the 10th, nice way to start off the back nine.
Playing his second shot here at the par 5. Frank, we remember what Rory McIlroy did here in 2010, his first PGA Tour victory, a 62 in the final round. It was also the first victory for Ricky Fowler.
Yeah, and oddly enough, it was in a playoff, and in that playoff, Ricky just pulled out a driver and smashed it down there, then hit a sand iron to that front left flag, basically the gimme distance. Not only did he win in the playoff, but he beat Rory McIlroy, the then world #1 in DA points. And that was the same Ricky Fowler that, remember, in the playoff in 2015 for the Players' Championship, drove the ball in equally daunting fashion over those 3 playoff holes at TPC Sawgrass.
Always 2 components to the long lag putt, the speed, number 1, and then the read. And missed out on that second part. Tough start to the backside, Frank.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well, too. You start losing confidence with the putter early on.
Just singes the edge, Frank.
Yeah, but at least he's burning the edges. You know you're hitting good putts.
Frank, this is just an embarrassing performance.
There's no crying in golf, Rich.
Action resuming early on the back nine. Let's go to hole number 11. Frank has not gone their way through the early portion of the round. What can they do to turn it around?
Well, you're right, Rich. It's been a rough start. It's basically back to basics. Missing too many fairways and too many greens, so therefore less opportunities. Got to reverse that trend.
Staring at the approach now at the par 4 11. This one looks like it's headed right for the middle of the dance floor, Frank.
Rather nice shot, I would say.
On the green, and a chance for birdie. Locked in on the read and the speed. Very well done. Almost made it.
Yeah, there'll be no stress for the next one.
So a tester from 4 feet. All right, no damage done. Stays at 1 over par with that putt. Here we are now at the 12th, and Frank, this is a beautiful but dangerous hole, par 4.
It is in a number of ways. The hole bends gently to the right, which you'd think would favor a nice little fade, but the fairway just seems to shrink up. I've seen this fairway missed by so many good players. And plus its yardage, 450 odd. You can't really lay back too far, otherwise you've got too long for your second shot. Rich, there's rough and rough. That ball is needle-nosed down.
Can't even see it from here. Second shot from the rough. It's on the way. And as he strides up here to the 12th green, having hit it in regulation, he knows now that his work is by no means done. A long putt coming up. Speed wasn't bad on that long putt, but the read wasn't very good. Oh, filling it up today. Beautiful putt. Here we are at the par 3, 13th hole. It's 210 yards. What does it take here, Frank?
It's one actually where you'd rather be conservative than aggressive here. And the reason why is this green tends to roll off at the back and the front and the middle there. So it's just something that pitches more in the central part of the green is really what's required.
Appears to be what they call a commercial play. Very solid. That's how you play the game, right there. Stick it in close and then knock in the birdie. Getting set now over the putt. Frank, I thought that was in. Oh, man.
I just pushed it.
Boy, that hurts. Not a gimme, but well within his range.
Well, for such a strong man, weak putt.
Now I'll have to make this just to avoid making Michael Dublé. So just a formality here. That's a bogey putt, dropping down the leaderboard a bit, now at 2 over par. Well, now we come to the really interesting 345-yard par 4 14th. Frank, I'm thinking that if you're leading, you're probably not going to try to drive.
He's going for a little extra. Can a ball explode?
That is big. I mean, really big. We moved that one out there, but he is not going to like the lie.
That moved down in the rough.
Midway through this back 9, could use this birdie here at the 14th. Makes it and moves to 1 over. Now teed up at the 15th hole. It is the final par 5 here at Quail Hollow, 577 yards. And Frank, I remember this hole well. McIlroy stiffed a 5-iron on his way to making eagle, his first PGA Tour win. That came back in 2010.
And the opportunity exists again here. Under 600 yards, plays downhill off the tee. Those two bunkers on the right are perfectly situated. That second one about 310 yards to it. So something straight at that one with a little draw will set up that mid-iron or long iron that has to be hit very high and uphill.
Frank, really good chance from this position to make a birdie.
Yeah, really the only thing he's looking at right now is the flag. This is a green light special.
On the green in regulation. Frank going for 2 in a row now. That had to really hurt, Frank, because it looked good all the way.
Well, this will test his mettle.
Standing over this putt, concentrating on the read. Frank, that's a par, and onward we go. Don't forget, second round coverage coming your way tomorrow here on EA Sports. For our entire crew, I'm Rich Lerner saying so long for now. This is EA Sports PGA Tour coverage coming up next. And we welcome you to one of the most popular golf courses on the PGA Tour. It is Quail Hollow. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina. And Frank, it is just starting to heat up out on the golf course. Fans are streaming in, anticipating a highly contested event with the best golfers in the world.
One reason the fans love this course so much, Rich, the Green Mile. It's fine to have a good golf course, but it's got to have a great finish. It's got a great finish, then it becomes a great golf course. Quail Hollow has that great finish of 16, 17, and 18.
Par yesterday, now for birdie. So a long putt there and just didn't read it quite right. Right about 9 feet here to the hole. Boy, that hurts right there, Frank.
Yeah, he's got to knuckle down now, though, because, we've seen it before, Rich. 2 putts turn into 3, 4. So make sure you can limit the damage here.
So another bogey on the scorecard. And Frank, what happened this week?
I think it's a week to forget, Rich.
Frank, there's a lot to chew on here as you get to the tee at the 532-yard par 5/7.
In today's game, 530 plus change you'd think is incredibly short. And look at the trouble in front of you. Water all the way down the right side and around that right side of the green. Bunkers left. This is not for the faint of heart.
He has given this one the full treatment. Perfect release through the ball. And this shot is on the fairway, over 300 yards. This one doesn't look good.
There's water over there.
Just averted danger right there. So close.
Why does he have all the luck?
Now the third shot at the par 5. And to generate some momentum here at the 7th hole, this for birdie. Really not much to this. The only issue would be a lack of concentration or focus. Frank well off the pace, but the true professionals, they keep digging, trying to get better. Frank, in modern professional golf, we're seeing more and more drivable par 4s, like the 8th here at Quail Hollow, 350 yards. What do you think of this hole?
It's not a bad hole. Drivable, some might say, but the angle of the green means it's hard for that tee shot to keep on the green. But I think the reward for hitting a driver is try and sort of aim at that tree just left of the green. And the reason why is then you've got to pitch up the direction of the green. This is a really narrow green.
A beautiful drive.
It's certainly taken the pressure off the rest of the hole.
Frank, the beauty of the game, the changing conditions. You've played it all over the world, and you don't play it inside a dome, do you?
Yeah, anybody can play on a fine, still day, but what separates the good from the great is actually days like today. That's when that little extra attention to detail, the better strike, the better swing, is certainly going to pay dividends. It doesn't go in, you got to add another one to the scorecard.
And that's where the golf ball's just staring at you and mocking you and laughing at you.
You know deep down it's smiling too, don't you?
That's a solid par putt. Frank, this is a really good way to finish out the front side here at Quail Hollow. 495-yard par 4.
Yeah, it's the longest par 4 at Quail Hollow. Some say it might be the toughest. I'm not quite in that camp. And the reason why, that green slopes in from both sides, the left and the right. But you can see why the drivers have done well here, because it's a big reward for thumping a big, long, straight drive down here.
You can see a little bit off balance on the tee, and that one is going to be in the rough.
Errant tee shot here, Rich, but going to have to muscle this one out of the rough.
He has 160 yards, sitting down just a bit in the second cut. That one is bunker bound, it looks like. That one is in the bunker. Playing this par 4, still not on the green after that second shot.
But still not done. A good third shot. Maybe get away here with par.
That's a disappointment right there, Frank.
Yeah, green light special, really. Come up considerably short.
Not in the fairway, but not too bad. Just in that first cut. And he's made it onto the green now. This one just requires a little bit of focus.
Oh, another one goes in.
Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo for EA Sports. We are set at Quail Hollow for the backside, the 10th hole, Frank, 469 yards.
And a nice par 5 where a good drive means that you can reach this par 5 in 2. Just trying to avoid that bunker down the left. Second shot's going to play a little downhill.
Pretty good drive here.
Another straight one. The great Bobby Jones used to say the hardest shot in golf's the next one. Judging by that light, it's not going to be too hard.
Frank, Rory McIlroy had his coming out party on the PGA Tour right here at Quail Hollow. That was in 2010. You remember that final round 62?
We certainly do, Rich. That great finish to post 62. Personally, I thought that was the best round shot in 2010. And not just because it was his first win, but it showed you what he was capable of. And then obviously we've got to see that ever since.
Frank, this is a position where a player is absolutely licking his chops here. Good chance to make a birdie.
Yeah, this is when this game just looks like fun. Bunkers don't seem to be in play. The only thing you're really looking at right now is just the flag.
Another good swing, and it looks like, Frank, another really good shot. That will be a great look at birdie. Birdie putt coming up. Had a par on this hole yesterday. And he has it for birdie. Another thriller from here at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo. And for all of us here at EA Sports, so long until next time. Today's coverage brought to you by EA Sports and the PGA Tour. Welcome to the home of the Wells Fargo Championship, where the likes of Rory McIlroy, Ricky Fowler, and long-hitting J.B. Holmes have all won. It was first opened for play in 1961. It has really grown through the years, and it is now played by the best in the world. Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo for EA Sports. Let's jump down to the golf course. No troubles there. Right in the fairway here at the fourth. Frank, as we look at the second shot here at the fourth, what's the best chance for a birdie?
A nice high floating second shot would be the ideal go here, Rich. Just pitching slightly right of the flag. But you cannot afford to miss this green on the right.
Headed for the bunker? Not what he wanted, but he's headed to the beach. All right, so greenside bunker. What's he looking to do with this shot, Frank?
Well, really you have to look at the amount of green you got to play with. You don't have to try and fly the ball right by the flag. Allow it to run. Plus, if you can get it to run like a putt, you never know. It might just go in.
That is frustrating, Frank. Cannot get it out of the bunker.
He's not done yet.
In the greenside bunker here, Frank. Nice to go to the beach, but not too often, we hope. Into the thick stuff. That's a difficult lie. Ball sitting down here in the rough. He's digging in. Solid play, heart of the green. Getting set now over the putt. Frank, how do you explain what we saw here?
It's a mess. It's probably the easiest way to put it. This is a case of anything that could go wrong. Not just probably, it did. Rich, there's rough and rough. That ball is needle-nosed down.
Can't even see it from here. Offline, and I think that one's headed for the rough.
Yeah, that was a little overambitious. Rich, after you've already made one mistake in the rough, there's a chance he's going to make another.
Just trying to get it back out into the fairway and not make a big number.
Great shot out of the rough. He avoided all the troubles just to get that on the green.
That was not an easy shot. He'll settle. See if he can go one better than yesterday when he made par. This putt for birdie. A great roll right there. Just a pure stroke right in the heart. Now set to tee off at the 6th. It is a long par 3, 250 yards.
We could take a little bit off for the downhill, but whichever way you look at it, it's still going to be a beefy par 3. Protected on the left by that front bunker, and if you sort of scoot one long, there's another bunker over there as well.
Good swing, good shot yet again. Frank had hit the green, but just didn't have enough backspin.
You wonder what he's thinking on that.
And he's made the green. Just needs to keep it steady here over the putt. So frustrating sometimes on the greens, isn't it? Drop shot here at the 6th. He needs this for bogey. So not his best work. He'll walk away with a bogey. Well, Frank, an eagle is in play here at the par 5 7th.
And a 6, and a 7, and an 8, or a 9, actually. This is a potential scorecard wreck with the 7th hole. Many a tee shot has found that creek on the right, trees, problems on the left. There's no question there's a reward for a good tee shot here. But then there's a decision on do you go for this par 5 and 2. It's not overly long, just over 530 yards. It is very tempting. Oh, beautiful swing, and the result is every bit as good.
I mean, he just blasted it down the fairway, well over 325 yards. This could be a huge momentum swing here, Frank.
Yeah, one more good swing, and he's going to have an eagle putt coming up. I know you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but it is well on the cards.
This one's looking good. That is one of the shots of the day right there, and he will have a really good look at eagle. Didn't fare too well on this hole yesterday. Made a bogey.
Finally, something happens that's good.
That's a nice shot right there. Frank, in modern professional golf, we're seeing more and more drivable par 4s, like the 8 here at Quail Hollow, 350 yards. What do you think of this hole?
It's not a bad hole. Drivable, some might say, but the angle of the green means it's hard for that tee shot to keep on the green. But I think the reward for hitting a driver is try and sort of aim at that tree just left of the green. And the reason why is then you've got to pitch up the direction of the green. This is a really narrow green.
Second shot. Good look at the green. So the second of the par 4 goes begging, and now I'll have to rely on the short game.
Yeah, but a short game, as we all know, can redeem a lot of mistakes. Let's see if he does it here. Oh, that was solid, Rich. This one's safely on.
Locked in on the read and the speed. Well, not in contention, but in for par. Frank, this is a really good way to finish out the front side here at Quail Hollow. 495-yard par 4.
Yeah, it's the longest par 4 at Quail Hollow. Some say it might be the toughest. I'm not quite in that camp. And the reason why, that green slopes in from both sides, the left and the right. But you can see why good drivers have done well here, because there's a big reward for thumping a big, long, straight drive down here.
This will require a good strike of the golf ball. It's a pretty long shot into this par 4 ninth. Chance to close out the front side here with a birdie.
It's at sneaky distance. A little bit more hope than determination in that putt.
Nudge this one home, finish it up. A good effort, a good par putt. Frank, you've been there at so many tournaments around the world. One round to go, a chance to win. What's that feeling like?
Oh, this is the fun part, knowing whether or not your body can handle the situation. You got to push it to the limit. But that's what sport and golf is all about. Trying to do something that you've dreamed of for so long.
EA Sports is proud to present PGA Tour coverage. Thanks for joining us here today in Charlotte, North Carolina for the final round of the Wells Fargo Championship. Frank, what do we have out here today?
Well, if history has a chance of repeating itself, remember those great closing rounds by Rory McIlroy? That 62, that was one of the best rounds shot that year back in 2010. And, of course, that playoff, too. Ricky Fowler back in 2012. We actually beat out then world number one Rory McIlroy with that stunning drive down the finishing hole and brilliant wedge to a tight flag. This golf course, it can give it, it can take it away. But for us, from where we're sitting, Rich, we'll enjoy the view today.
No doubt about it. But this could be really good, Frank.
Oh, straight at it.
Paying attention like a little kid at school, Frank. That baby's sitting up.
Sitting up. It's got the best view as well. You don't even need binoculars from where that ball is. If you hit enough shots, every now and again, one's going to go in.
Crazy, crazy game. Now to the par 4 11. Frank, what do you think of this hole?
It's an interesting hole, Rich, and I'm curious to see how aggressive players will play here today. The easy way, obviously, is just hit it down the right side and set up a nice second shot with a short iron. Or the most fun way is to take the big stick out and try and bite off as much of that corner as you choose, but be prepared to pay the price should it knock them off. Well, that's got to be 300 yards, isn't it?
Frank, what's your thinking here on this approach shot at the 11?
Rich, this is another one. You have to favor the high side, which is the right side of this par 4. And if the flag's in the back corner, just be careful because everything slopes away from you off the back left of the green.
Appears to be what they call a commercial play. Very solid.
Just a pure strike and a perfect result. He'll have a good look at birdie now. Been pretty good all day from this distance, just trying to take care of business. Frank, you know what gets me about this game? Here a person makes a legitimate effort, makes a good stroke, and that ball spins around and is just laughing at the player. And now what's left, you could breathe on that ball. It counts the same as a 300-yard drive. It's not right.
But it's the beauty of the game. Oh, he's winding this one up. Doesn't have the power, though.
Really powering up here.
Long just meant longer.
And now it's right in his wheelhouse. Good position where he can attack the pin.
Yeah, he has all those options now. That ball's sitting up. You can bring it in high. You can bring it in low. The choice is yours.
Early part of this second nine, a good approach shot. Now, pretty good chance for birdie. Made a par in his previous round. This time, it's for birdie. Well, there's an opportunity wasted.
Just knock it in for a par, and let's forget about this one. Golf is not about perfect, but it is going to hurt the course.
That's a nice confidence builder right there. You make those for par, and you keep things steady. Now to the par 3, 13th hole. Frank, this one 210 yards.
Very, very good par 3. This is actually a big green. It's 37 yards deep, but it actually plays small. There's a front right portion, there's a roll-off area in the middle, and there's a roll-off area in the back. So don't be deceived by the size of this green. You better be pitching that tee shot right bang in the middle. Second shot.
Pretty good shot right there.
Really. This is an awkward length.
Well, that's just a poor putt, Frank, and now let's hope he doesn't make a Michael Bublé.
He's hardly going to be singing after that one.
Frank, nothing really went the player's way this week.
Yeah, if this was motor racing, you'd say it's a case of having 4 flat tires.
What a display of power and precision off the tee. On the green here on the par 4 in 1.
Just want to nestle this one down to within a couple of feet.
That was not a very good read right there.
Standing over this putt, concentrating on the read. Well, at last, a birdie. Now at the par 5, 15th hole, 577 yards. Frank, you remember what Rory McIlroy did here in 2010, that final round, 62?
I certainly do, Rich. That was an amazing run on the second 9. And holes like this, too. He just stood up here with a driver and just obliterated it down there with a nice draw. Took those bunkers out of play and just set up a mid-iron. Long and straight.
That's how you do it.
Wow, that is a monster drive down there, about 315 yards. And from the fairway with his second shot here.
There's a bunker over there.
I think he's headed for it. Not what he wanted, but he's headed to the beach. Frank, there's nothing like catching a bunker shot just perfectly. Splashes out, lands softly, and just runs up to that hole.
Yeah, it's like 3D. There's the component in the strike where it's going to land, and then the third part of it is how much will it roll.
You see that kind of work from the bunker, you think of the greats like Seve Ballesteros and Gary Player, the best bunker players of all time. Man,
I just pushed it.
Boy, that hurts. Just a couple of feet. And he makes it for par. At last, we have arrived at the start of one of the most daunting finishing stretches in all of golf. They call it the Green Mile, 16, 17, and 18 here at Quail Hollow. The 16th is a par 4, 508 yards, Frank.
And this hole was made even more difficult when they pushed that green further left to bring the water more in play with the second shot. I mean, it's a great par 4, strong in every single department.
Frank, really good chance from this position to make a birdie.
Yeah, really the only thing he's looking at right now is the flag. This is a green light special. Should be safely on deck.
Had a birdie here yesterday, in there close. Great opportunity for another one. Birdie try again here today. Frank, you hate to miss it from that distance.
More than a setback there.
Simple, solid, and he'll take it.
But one that you need to make.
Just 2 holes remaining here at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is the signature par 3, 221 yards, the 17th.
And they have a multitude of tees here. One of the new back tees is actually where the old 16th green was. And if you think don't go left is the way to play, then that won't work either, because right's not that much good. This is it. Stand on the tee, and you better hit a good shot.
That's well played. Now a good look at birdie. Made par yesterday. This one for birdie.
Ooh, inexcusable.
Frank, that's a par, and onward we go. Now to the finishing hole here at Quail Hollow. Frank, what can we expect?
If there was a name for this hole, Rich, it should be called Narrows. The creek that meanders its way down the left side and actually divides that hole into really half the size of what a normal par 4 should be. That makes it hard. The bunker on the right is your bailout area, just over 290 yards to get past that, and then the narrowest green that still sits up against the lake. This is just a brilliant finish. That's beyond long.
That is a sensational play right there, and you have to think that the little helping breeze gave that a nice boost.
He can't be that good.
Appears to be a smart shot, Frank.
Yeah, no problem here. That's going to fly all the way.
Can't hide the flagstick from that man. This one just requires a little bit of focus. Oh, yeah, he's made it for a birdie. Frank, it was a great setting with great crowds. We saw plenty of very good golf. Your thoughts?
I think the course really extracted some of the golf that we saw. It forced these players to play just some great golf, and it wasn't just like a pitch and a putt golf course. So I think seeing the guys tested, seeing the players tested at this level, it was a treat.